What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and here we go. We sold a player, unbelievable, but we sold Timote Weah. Yesterday we talked about that, it can kick off at any given time, and it was getting closer and closer that Timote Weah was going to get sold this summer, and it's done. He's going to Marseille, like I said, and I need to applaud Comolli for this one because he digged in deep and he got what he wanted. Actually, he got more than what we paid for Timote Weah, which is unbelievable because I don't think he added any value to his time at Juve because he was injured, at beginning, didn't play much, and when he played, he had a handful of couple of good games, and other than that, it's just it's watching like paint dry. He offers very little to a football team in a good way or in a bad way. He just offers basically nothing throughout 90 minutes unless he has that one good moment. But Comolli, I need to give him credit. He wanted more money, he wanted guarantees, and he got that. He told Marseille, like I said, you want the player, you're gonna need to pay up what we want. I don't care what we offered, what Nottingham Forest offered. I don't care that Timote has an agreement with you guys. You're gonna need to pay what we want. And in the end, we got 1 million euros for the loan fee, 14 for the obligation, 3 million in bonuses, and 10% on the future resale, which is much more, but could be even more than what we paid when we got him on a free, not on a free, when we got him from Lille for around 11, I thought it was. But hit the like button, subscribe to the channel because this should just be the beginning. Does this free up money to buy a player? No, money-wise, not really. Didn't have a high wage, and we're only getting 1 million in this summer. This summer when it comes to the transfer fee, it opens up a spot in on the roster, which is also a big issue. Now, when I praised Comolli, and I need to praise him because he dug in for a player. I think everybody was like, oh, come on, don't haggle around, just move him out. But it's about principles. At the end of the day, you need to get what you want, and maybe we are the problem. Maybe the club wanted 30 million for Mbangula, and we are the idiots saying, well, we want more, and we want more for Mbangula. But maybe it was impossible to get more for Mbangula from Werder Bremer. I don't know. But even then, the fans always have a different opinion, which is fair. But now it's like, okay, are we going to move on? Is this just the beginning? Is Douglas Luiz next this week? Is it finally moving on from Douglas Luiz because the club wants to move on from Douglas Luiz? But the reality is there's no offer from Nottingham Forest. Only interest and talks a little bit. But the club at this moment in time hasn't received any real offer. They're just speculations that they want to offer a loan with an obligation, etc. But the club hasn't received anything for Douglas Luiz, anything for Nico Gonzalez, anything for, name it, maybe McKennie and all these players. But this should kickstart something. It's August. We start the season in 3 weeks. We are not ready. We are not ready on the pitch when it comes to what we already have, and we're just not ready building that squad. Maybe the Colomani deal. I know people are like, oh, now we're gonna get Colomani done. No, I think the Colomani thing you get done even if you kept Timote Weah in the squad. That I don't think that's relevant. But based on what we've seen the last couple of months, and maybe even yesterday, and again, the result doesn't matter. It's just the performance, and what we already knew got confirmed. I think the priority should be the defender, more than Colomani. If Colomani is digging in deep and saying, I only want Juve, then the defender should be a priority. I cannot believe the club is sitting there believing that backline is going to survive for a full season. One Bremer injury away from another disaster. And even with Bremer, it's not going to going to look fantastic, and even today talks about midfielders, adding midfielders because we want to move out Douglas Luiz and Miretti. Why should we keep Miretti? Keep Miretti and invest that money in areas that are desperately needed. And you can say, well, we need help in that midfield because Locatelli, many of you think Locatelli is not good enough. I don't think, when good enough, I can replace 90% of that squad if we have money. I will replace 90% of that squad. I don't think Locatelli is high on the list to be replaced. I think we have much bigger issues, The thing is, Locatelli and Thuram are going to start. If somebody gets injured, the drop-off is insane. McKennie is not good enough. Colt Miners was tripping over his own feet even in preseason, and he looked didn't look sharp. And I'm being nice. He looked bad, really bad again. There's nothing less. Is it not sensible to keep players like Adzic and Miretti around because spending that money on a different area, because look at the players we're interested. Is Yeoman going to be a difference maker? I think he's a good player. Is he going to make a difference? Not really. I don't think he's going to make a difference to this team. That's one of these players. Jadon Sancho still lingering around because Nico Gonzalez is not good. Even in that preseason game, it's looking bad. It's really looking bad, when it comes to these players at one point. So I don't know what the club is going to do. What I do know, or what we now know, is that Comolli said, we set the price. That's what he basically said in the interview. Like, players want to leave, good, fine. But at the end of the day, if they have an agreement with the club, good for them. We have agreements with a lot of players. Doesn't mean we're signing all these players, because at the end of the day, they're owned by a club, and that club wants their money. They want their demands to be met before, they agree to part ways with their players. So why would that be any different with us? So that is a takeaway from today, where it's like Comolli said, I want that, and he got that, and that's it. And now you move on. Is it Douglas Luiz? We want that. Vlahovic, next one. We want that. Even today, reports out there saying that Milan want to offer Benacer and Thiaw for Vlahovic and some cash. I mean, Benacer, the Gazette dello Sport saying that's Tudor's ideal midfielder to unlock things. If Benacer is a midfielder Tudor needs to unlock things, we're in a serious problem. What the hell is Benacer going to unlock? Let's be completely honest right here. Thiaw, another player you add to already a mix of just okayish / bad average players. Like, it's not going to improve things. Just get the money for Vlahovic and buy a player you think is good enough. Don't be forced in getting players you're desperately trying to move on in a year or two, because that's going to happen with players like Benacer and Thiaw. They're not good enough. They're not good enough for Milan. And we were better. We are better than Milan, which doesn't say a lot, but they're not even good enough for those teams to take them to the next level. How are these players going to take us to a next level? It's time to make smart decisions. If there's no money, then stay what it is. If there's no money, or there's little money and just buying to buy, then keep players like Miretti and Adzic and give it a go. And if it doesn't work out, the money you have left and the money you added, you buy a player that's going to make a difference, rather than just keep buying players that may or may not make the difference. And if they don't make the difference, well, you're stuck with them and you waste some money you could have invested in a player that's actually going to make a difference. That is going to be very key right now. But with little time left, extremely little time left in my opinion, I don't think many things are going to happen. Let's be completely honest. I think it will be a miracle if you sell Douglas Luiz and Vlahovic at this point and you bring one or two more players in. And with that one or two, is that Colomani? Probably one of those players. And two, who knows? Is that a midfielder? Is that Jadon Sancho? But I don't think we should be expecting many things to happen at this moment in time, because Comolli made it clear. We need to sell, then we can buy. And right now, selling is a bit difficult for the obvious reasons. But yeah, in the comment sections, let me know what you think about the Timote Weah sale, and what do you think the next step should be for Comolli coming week. And then stay tuned for today, because I will be back with a live show. It's been a while, actually 2.5 weeks almost. So we'll be back later tonight. Stay tuned for that. And